Welcome to Series the Series. We just watched H20, Halloween, 20 years later. It is a 1998 installment of the Halloween series. I'm here with AJ.
How you doing?
And Dylan.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm Luke, as always. This film takes place, obviously from the title, 20 years after the second movie, which the second movie took place the same year as the 1978 original. It was a direct sequel.
That came out 3 years later.
Exactly. But this is a direct sequel to 1 and 2.
Right.
And it kind of takes that whole Thorn trilogy, which I personally, thought it was garbage.
It was garbage.
And it acts like that never happened.
It flushes it right down the shitter.
So at the beginning of this film, we are in a new town in Illinois. It is called...
what was that? What was that called?
It's not Haddonfield.
Oh, I said it when it popped up. It was
something Grove?
No, that's where
it was called Landon.
Landon.
Yes, Landon, Illinois is a new place, and it's where Dr. Loomis's assistant, she lives, and her home has been broken into, and her neighbors, two young teenage stoner types, one of them being Joseph Gordon-Levitt, is wielding a hockey stick, wearing a beanie, and he approaches her to try to help out and defend her from someone who had broken into her home and help search her home. Yeah. Well, he just goes in there and snags all her beer out of the refrigerator, looks around haphazardly, just kind of not caring.
Wrecks her kitchen a little bit.
Yeah, just looks around and says everything's good. Well, we see one moment where he enters a room and there's a bunch of files and papers and things regarding Michael Myers. And they're thrown around, and it's obvious that there's been a break-in, and pretty obvious to us, being fans of the series, that it's Michael Myers.
So, quick question. Do they explain Loomis's, not being in the movie in this one?
They do not.
Okay.
And AJ and I were saying while the film began that, Loomis must have died in the fire. They're assuming that Loomis died in the fire too, but not really, because it is presented when the cops investigate. They make a reference that Loomis was living with her. The nurse was taking care of Loomis.
They should have probably just kept it to where it's like he died in the fire.
Yeah, it would have been much simpler.
Right.
Yeah, because how, like we said, when was it? Maybe in 4, the podcast in 4, we said, how the hell did he survive that explosion? But no, in this one, they say he survived and he was under Marion's care, which is his,
assistant.
The lady,
The assistant, the nurse.
Before dying.
Not dead, just very much retired.
And he was, as we love to quote from the... part 6, but he was very much retired, but obsessed and still researching heavily Michael Myers.
Mm-hmm.
And Laurie Strode had faked her own death
somehow
after 2 in a car crash,
and changed her name
and moved to California, where she was the head.
She's the
mistress.
Is that correct to the term?
I think
she's the head principal position at a boarding school, elite boarding school in the West Coast.
She's the schoolmaster.
Awesome setting for this movie.
And as my second personal favorite of the series, I just love this setting. It had this nice teenage feeling where all these kids are at school. It has school as a setting, which we've never really seen.
Yeah.
And a boarding school where all the kids don't have their parents, so they're always up to, they're being kids. And then there's this whole idea that there's a trip to Yosemite National Park.
Yeah, everyone's leaving the school for the weekend.
Everyone's leaving except for the main cast of characters, which is Laurie Strode's son named
John.
And John and his girlfriend, the blonde girl.
Who's named Blonde Girl.
Yeah, she didn't get a credit.
She's just Blonde Girl.
And her
name was Molly.
And her friend, who's alternative type 90s character. her name?
There was Charlie and Sarah. So Sarah
so
was
Sarah.
Sarah was the girl, and then her boyfriend was Charlie.
Charlie was the most underdeveloped character.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Though.
Really barely got any lines or anything. Maybe it made a joke or
There's
two.
a lot of sex jokes with him.
He was charismatic.
He was charismatic. They just didn't give him enough screen time, so we obviously thought he would have the first kill.
And he was.
Before that, there's a nice scene where she is teaching Frankenstein. Laurie Strode is doing a lecture about Frankenstein. And if you noticed, parts of the book she's talking about reference Halloween. Like, she's saying, oh, it's about someone who created a monster that can't be killed. And there's a close relation between the monster and
to Michael Myers.
Yeah. And she's making this whole Frankenstein kind of...
there's kind of like a parallel there.
Yeah, she's bringing that up. And then there's a scene where she keeps looking out and she thinks she sees Michael Myers outside, but she keeps... The whole first third of this movie, she's imagining Michael Myers.
Having to close her eyes to like get rid of the image.
Kind of reflective, like on the first one, where before in the first movie, before Laurie Strode is even like aware of Michael Myers, there's a lot of scenes where like she's seeing him and then he's like seemingly disappearing. So that was kind of nice and familiar to have that brought back into the series.
And I really just love, I think AJ said this, it is as if this movie is just paying respect to the slasher genre.
Yeah.
Because it has not just Jamie Lee Curtis reprising the role after 20 years in the series. It has her mother, Janet Leigh, who was basically the first Scream queen ever.
Yeah.
In slasher movies in the original Psycho by Alfred Hitchcock.
That famous shower scene.
They make a lot of Psycho references in this movie.
Yeah, there's the car.
There's
the car from Psycho.
The one guy compares John's mother, Laurie Strode, to the mother in Psycho, which is kind of ironic because
Scream was on TV as well. This Scream movie. Was that the first movie?
It was I believe it was the first.
It was
Scream,
the Drew Barrymore scene.
And this movie was based on a story written by the writer of Scream.
Right.
So it has a Scream writer on this. That's why we have such a different. I like to call this movie like an American Pie, like teenage comedy mixed with like a Scream and a Halloween reference. It kind of has this like teenage slasher 90s to early 2000s.
Right. I totally get what you're saying. Scream was kind of like already both of those.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Scream did. So this is more like Scream than any of the other movies.
I think they definitely picked a good writer to like do this one. Like it seems like for this one they finally got like a talented group of people together to like actually make a decent Halloween movie.
And they took the franchise more seriously in this than the previous installments.
Yeah, they did. There's a lot of
they cut out a lot of the fluff. And they really had a lot of action scenes. I noticed AJ was like over there cheering as he does.
It was great. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about how much you love these action scenes?
The main thing I loved about this movie the most was just whoever played Michael Myers, which I'll tell you in a minute. I need to look it up, but he just like the way he moved, the body movement was just so surreal.
What do you
mean by that?
It almost seemed. It only seemed like Michael Myers could just be like that. It was as easy as like when he would get knocked down, the way he would get up and kind of just legs just kind of spread out.
Goosebumps because it was so much his character.
Yeah,
he was lifeless.
Kind of lifeless, but life at the same time,
Very charismatic.
He would kind of like look up real quick and like surroundings and like where he's at, but it was still so lifeless. It just, I don't know, it just got me.
It was a good Michael Myers in this movie.
He seemed undead.
It was a good Michael Myers in this movie. They finally got an actor to play him,
which was Chris Durand.
Chris Durand.
And as Dylan mentioned many times throughout the film, the mask was not as good in this one.
The mask is not as good. I don't like the big eye holes.
The biggest critique.
They kind of make him look a little goofy. But
it was the late '90s. No one had good fashion. Well, even Michael Myers had bad fashion in the '90s.
They had to change it.
What didn't you like about it exactly?
About the mask?
I didn't like it either. I just don't know what to pinpoint, like why
I didn't like
did
the
it.
eyes.
The eyes was
The eye
It used to
holes,
be
yeah.
so lifeless and
Yeah.
like blank,
Yeah.
and this had more like life to it.
for
Kind
me.
of,
It didn't
yeah.
look like the original Halloween. Like it didn't look like a
Mhm.
mask anymore. It wasn't a Halloween.
It was almost
mask.
more in
Right.
his face.
Yeah, it was like
yeah, it's
just
almost
as-
like it was created just for him. Which
Uh,
duh. But
almost
like,
as if like the mask had become part of his own face.
Yeah.
Like that was just his face now.
And did you notice also when you would see a close-up shot of him, he looked too clean underneath the mask
Yeah.
for him to be going through what he has gone through.
And
Right.
younger.
He didn't look like he had been burned. Like
Yeah.
it actually just looked like an
They-
actor behind that mask, which
they-
kind of turned me off at some scenes.
That would have been really cool if they did like nice little details like that.
Yeah.
Where it was like just because you
Just
see a
throw
lot.
some makeup in the
just
back.
throw-
yeah,
yeah,
like
throw
it was just
some-
too clean face.
Right.
Also,
Yeah.
we had a character who was the guidance counselor of the, and
Mhm.
and he was a
Yeah.
love interest
Yeah.
to Laurie Strode,
He was a
Mhm.
good boy.
and I felt indifferent about him. I did not
Yeah.
like him. I did not dislike him.
Mm-hmm.
He was just a bland character.
Especially the scene where they're like kissing and everything, and Lori finally tells him like who she is and what's happening.
No
He just
reaction.
yeah, he's just kind of like, here, let me kiss you on the chest some more.
He
and-
goes. What is it? He goes. He says he goes on Halloween night, like 1978. She's going into the spiel. She's like, my brother killed my sister. What was it? What was the exact?
It was
line?
kind of shitty.
I think he said something like,
"That's sucky."
yeah,
Yeah,
that's sucky.
He said that's
Like,
sucky, and
if
then he
I was
said,
Lori, I'd be like, okay, fuck it, I won't tell you my
And
damn
then he
story. You're
just-
the first person I opened up to, but
Yeah.
whatever.
he just continued to like take her shirt off.
He's like,
too.
"Whatever. I
Yeah.
want to get laid."
Yeah, that's all that was on his mind.
He was a good guy though. Like I could,
Was
even
he?
there wasn't a lot of character development to him.
He shot LL Cool J, man.
Yeah.
But he didn't know at the time. I knew though. It was like as soon as LL came around the corner, I said, "No, that's LL."
You know
And
what,
it looked
though?
like Michael Myers.
It was Michael Myers, I swear.
I think Michael Myers
but the next
intentionally
scene,
did that.
yeah. Ooh.
Like he set him up for it.
Because he came right out after that, and he
Yeah.
killed. The
Like he
Maybe it was
guy.
he
just-
jumped out and then got out of the way.
I think
Yeah.
it was just supposed to be like a hysteria thing.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh yeah.
I think we're overthinking it.
Because this guy doesn't know who Michael Myers is, or let alone what he looks like. So Laurie starts freaking out, and so he's just like, "I'm gonna save this
And-
girl and shoot this dude up,
Can I
and then
bring up
later
the
on
scene-
get my nut on."
where she wants revenge. She tells
Hmm.
her son, "Get out of here, take your girlfriend, get in this car, SUV, leave." She busts the gates where no one can leave. It's just her, Michael Myers, final showdown.
And a couple dead bodies.
Couple dead bodies. She has an
Six
axe.
altogether?
She has an
Yeah.
axe. She's gonna kill him. And then there's this odd scene where Michael Myers is like coming down from the hallway. And it looks like he's been doing chin ups.
Yeah.
He just kind of plops down.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's a humorous scene.
It is.
Like, I think it's
kinda
really
like,
funny.
It's too like fake.
It's
to me.
campy.
What was he doing? You know.
He was just waiting.
I
up
mean,
there.
he is that kind of stealthy though. But
He is.
Well, so getting back into the plot a little bit, did we mention early on that Loomis's assistant, which I cannot remember her character name at all. She's also killed along with the neighbors,
And
thus completely cutting off all ties with Loomis.
yeah.
So
She was the best person to ever fight back against Michael Myers. I think in the whole series.
Yeah,
Like,
she
wanted to live.
fought
She wanted
for
to
her
live.
life.
Yeah.
yeah.
In fact,
It's
I thought she
interesting.
was going to live.
It's
but no.
interesting because Michael kind of gets his kill from in the first movie. He almost kills her when he first breaks out of the the mental asylum.
And I think Laurie Strode's son is the first time we've ever seen anyone punch Michael Myers. He
Or
just straight up
survive.
clocked him
Yeah,
to a
yeah.
face.
Well, I guess minus Laurie Strode in the first movie.
What was your guys' favorite kills in that movie?
Oh boy, there was only 6 to choose from, so
I would
see.
say the dumb waiter.
I think the most brutal one was the girl getting killed. Yeah, with the dumbwaiter and it falls on her leg.
Oh, okay. Is that what those
Um,
things are called?
Yeah, dumb waiters.
Okay.
Dumbwaiters. My favorite kill. Golly, that's a hard one. I'm trying to think about them all right
I guess
now.
mine is the what was her? What
Yeah,
was
I'd
she?
have to say that was probably my favorite one.
Sarah?
Yeah, I think that was my favorite one. Was her being killed in the opening of the film. Good way to kind of like, I don't know, intro the film. I like that. I like the opening a lot of the movie. I found the pacing to be a little bit slow at times, but then once it picks up, I mean, it fucking goes.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like, so that I did like that. How it's like. You kind of like in the first movie, you get this long stretch of where, not much is happening and it's just more character exposition and, kind of just catching everyone up to speed about what's going on with all the characters at this point in time and the history of the past. And then as soon as Michael shows up to the school, I mean, it's just fucking on. And from there, it's just like they're running from him. He's killing people. They're fighting him. That was nice.
I think that's a great point, Dylan.
Yeah.
Because it was as if there's a slow build up. Oh, we have this boarding school.
Mhm.
We have these teenagers. We have a headmaster. I even like that where they go into town and she's drinking the wine at the restaurant with her boyfriend. And
Yeah.
we kind of have this, she's developed this alcohol habit because of Michael Myers, her paranoia of him. And that's all a good build up. And when he is there, it is action and it does not stop.
Yeah.
And it really brings through the action better than anything I've seen in the series, really.
So this is kind of interesting. FX Network premiered an alternate version of the film. So here we go again with alternate versions.
Can we please watch it?
What
It
is this
adds
one?
and extends footage not seen in the original, and it has yet to be released anywhere, but the deleted scenes are on YouTube to watch. But that's the only way you can watch it.
Okay, so
And this was in 2003.
the deleted scenes are added into the film, and that's what's available.
And that was
YouTube?
on FX Network, but you can only see the footage
Deleted
on-
scenes are
yeah.
available on
Oh
YouTube.
man, so there's not like a proper cut of the film
Right.
besides like what
I'm sure it exists because someone had it from FX. Like you can find it.
Interesting. So we've got like another producer's cut.
By the way, this was directed by Steve Miner and produced by Paul Freeman.
Yeah,
And it was written by
It says
Matt Greenberg.
screenplay
Is he
by
the Scream
Robert
guy?
Zappia and Matt Greenberg.
with characters based off of Deborah Hill and John Carpenter.
Yeah. Story is by Robert Zappia as well.
So, weren't you guys a little bit surprised to see Joseph Gordon-Levitt and then see him die so soon?
I thought
He is
Yeah.
the biggest name
know.
person in this film besides Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
And he is
Or
out
Janet
of the
Leigh.
or Janet Leigh, thank you. And he is out of the film in 6 minutes.
Instant.
Yeah, he dies pretty quickly. I was definitely expecting him to see this movie. Kind of, I think what they tried doing with this one was like, we've had so many Halloween films come out in between, Halloween 1 and 2, and then this one. I think they were trying to subvert audiences' expectations a little more, where it was like, oh, here's some characters we're introducing to you. JK, they're dead. Oh, Laurie Strode's back and she's gonna fight Michael Myers again. You know what? She's gonna kick his fucking ass too. Like, I was honestly not expecting Laurie Strode to be so gung-ho and ballsy in this one.
Do you know what, guys?
But it makes sense.
I'm just remembering this. I think, unless I'm thinking of a scene I saw from Resurrection that we're about to watch soon, I think I've seen the FX cut because a lot of years I watch AMC Fear Fest and I also watched this movie because it's my favorite. And I've seen a cut on FX and I'm thinking back, there are scenes I did not see.
Oh, okay.
And there's a scene where there's a press meeting. And after she decapitates him, she announces like to the world, "I'm Laurie Strode, and I killed Michael Myers."
Kind of like like at the end of Iron Man.
Yeah. Yeah, that is, ain't it?
I'm Iron Man.
Yeah, there's kind of like the coming out like in the press, and we didn't see that.
Laurie's Avengers.
Yeah, and then this spawns a cinematic universe about a team of badasses Laurie brings together.
And there's another scene, I believe, where there's another like LL Cool J scene where he's trying to help out those teenagers, and there's like more with that story.
I thought there could have been a lot more LL Cool J in this movie than there was. Don't get me wrong, I loved every second that he was on screen. But I thought like his character could have done a lot more. Also, can we talk about how he gets shot up, but then somehow at the very end of the movie is like,
Yeah.
JK, I'm alive and I'm still the
What
same
did you
old
think of that,
LL.
AJ? Because that was bogus.
That was,
Here's how I thought about it. If you watch that scene, there's like 5 or 6 shots fired, right?
yeah.
If you watch all those bullets, none of them hit him except for one. It was up on the left shoulder.
But he was like profusely bleeding all
Yeah,
over the
well,
floor.
it was bleeding from the
He
shoulder.
was either dead or really hurt.
He
But
was
when he
knocked out
comes
cold.
back, he comes back as if I wasn't shot at all.
Maybe
Yeah.
And he had like a little like tourniquet on his head.
he was
from glass.
he was way too energetic for having lost as much blood as he did. But
Yeah.
maybe they gave him some fruit punch and a cookie, and he spunked up.
Let's talk about the ending though for sure. I loved it, and I thought it was
Mhm.
one of the best endings in the series.
I thought the ending
It
was
was just
good.
intense.
I thought the ending was good. They could have maybe done something to like make it a little bit less cheesy because like everything
was cheesy.
Oh,
I do.
There was a few.
Really?
There was a few moments like that. I was like when they're rolling down the hill, like when the van is, like that all was super campy. I think maybe she should have just cut his head off like at the school rather than like have this whole like she
Well,
gets it
Yeah,
gets him in the
but,
van.
but she
like,
couldn't because LL Cool J stopped her.
Yeah,
And then after that, they threw him into the.
I'm fine
thing.
with the van scene. She should have just ran him over. She waited for him to get up.
right.
Yeah.
Then they go down that cliff. Okay. And then there's that awkward, long, drawn out
Mhm.
scene where she's like, my brother Michael. It's like this long
I thought that
thing.
was actually kind of nice though that they had a moment where
know,
it was like, hey, you know,
I don't see it as a sentimental moment.
Really?
It was, dude.
Well, he was definitely
if you
trying
know
to
Michael
deceive her.
Myers.
Oh, of course.
He's
it was-
ruthless. We know he was going to kill her.
And it
Try.
might. They probably shot it to where it wanted to look like he was out to grab her hand, like whatever. But it was probably more of like, "Fuck, I want to kill you," because that's him.
He's definitely
And
trying
then
to deceive her.
she just chopped his head off, man.
Yeah.
Oh, and that head goes flying.
That's a good scene, but I think the bad part of the scene is that there is too much time of the two of them just standing there having this moment, and it just kind of like Michael Myers is only scary when he's free and he's hunting you
Yeah.
down and he's
Right.
following you. When he's trapped like that, it makes him
Look like a bitch.
or I was gonna say less of a threat. Just
Yeah.
Right. But it was like her, what is the word, like Last Judgment or
Mhm.
what, like
It was in
20
times.
years. Like, think
Laurie
of what's
Strode,
going through her mind.
She's tired and she's just ready to
Yeah.
move on, and she just wants to kill this fucker and move the
I
fuck
feel
on.
like personally, it would have to be like, you'd have to take a minute for just to kind of realize what's happening right now.
Here's my ending. Here's what how I would have done it. You get all that fight stuff. The whole movie's the same as it is, and then when they're bagging him up, when they're putting him in the body bag, she looks over at the axe. She grabs the knife just before they zip him up into the bag. She just runs up to him and chops his head off right there, and everyone's freaking out and like, what the fuck? And she's just like, it's over, Michael. And then fade to
Yeah.
black.
Yeah.
Maybe I missed something, but how was she driving a car with him in the body bag in the first place?
She stole it.
She stole it. She took the.
She got the gun out and threatened all of them and was like,
Mhm.
give me the van, like throw him in the back
Okay.
and stole it.
Yeah.
So this movie's budget was at 17 million, and box office they made 85 million.
Nice little come up there. These movies always sell. I mean, they
Yeah.
always do. They're in the as we know, a lot of them were used as just simple cash grabs because they always sell. This one felt a little earned though. Like it seemed like they actually the people behind making it had a little more care and compassion. There are a couple things that are this movie is naturally like kind of cheesy, and there are some moments that kind
So
of
much better than 4, 5, and 6.
oh it's. Well, 3 is a Halloween movie, but it's not like a Michael Myers
okay,
movie.
not as a Michael Myers.
Right.
I don't know if the audience can tell, but we are like more enthusiastic with this. We just got done with 4, 5,
It's
and
like
6.
a relief.
Yeah, it is.
It is a nice change of pace. It's not like
It's like a weight has been
Dude, it's
lifted.
so much more better than
AJ,
4 and 5.
a
and
weight
6.
has been lifted off my
Yes.
shoulder. with this
It-
movie. Like,
it-
thank
I mean,
God we're
after-
done with that
I mean,
Thorn
honestly,
series.
yeah. Honestly, after you get through 4, 5, and 6, yeah, this is a
Pat
really
yourself
nice
on the
change
back.
of-
Yeah,
you made it.
You did it.
Yeah.
4 is okay. 5 and 6 are the ones that you really
Yeah.
have to like.
Yeah, 4
pat
wasn't
yourself
too
on the
bad.
back.
But
So this is like it was a nice change of pace. Like it was nice just to have a good Halloween movie. So what did you guys think of Halloween H20? How would you rate it?
4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, for everything. Fun and
Okay.
movie-wise.
Fair
Okay,
enough.
for movie wise,
Mhm.
I'm gonna say 5 out of 5. And for fun, I'm gonna say 5 out of 5.
Yeah, for fun.
Ooh, yeah, 5 out of 5 for fun. Duh.
Yeah.
Damn.
For fun, I'd give it a solid 4.5 out of 5, and for movie, I'd give it a solid 4. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that sounds.
All
good.
I know is I always say the originals. Obviously, it's the best.
Yeah.
I don't know what I rated that, but that's the best.
It's the best.
But this is my favorite of the sequels,
Right.
and I love it.
Yeah.
So this is my favorite Halloween movie besides Halloween.
So we got Resurrection next week, guys. Are you excited for this one? I heard it's not that good.
I'm not excited for it. I heard this is where it kind of tanks off again. I hear it gets a little.
I
crappy.
remember seeing parts of this on TV, and it was unwatchable.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I watched it on TV on AMC Fear Fest, and as
Growing
a kid,
up, Dylan and I used to talk about it at school. Right?
It
Remember
was-
that one? That's like a
it's
reality
just
show.
It's not. I don't think it's as bad as like 6 is, but I've heard it's just not good.
We'll tune in next week, and we're going to be watching Halloween Resurrection, which is Halloween 8, and is the last movie of the traditional Halloween franchise. And then there's the 2 Rob Zombie films, and then there is Halloween 2018, which we are about to go see in theaters.
Yep.
Yeah, so get your tickets now and get caught up on the podcast and or the movies, and
come home and watch our podcast. So
Yeah,
it'll be uploaded just in time.
Yeah, we're gonna upload it as soon as possible after this one to our fan base.
So let us know in the comments what you thought about the movie and our podcast. And as always, like and subscribe for more podcasts in the future. You want to sign us out, Luke?
Yeah, that was a great film, and see you next time at Series of the Series.